I'm Dr. Kristen R. Bromley. This video series, which is part of my online music academy, specifically accompanies the Tablature Book from my Method Book series. Like all my books, this selection is available to purchase through Amazon and Google Play. For help, see the links in the description below. In the videos which are part of this specific course, I progress through the lessons in the Tablature Book, explaining and demonstrating concepts and playing each of the songs and exercises contained therein, so you can hear how they sound and play them right along with me. You are of course welcome to view these videos with or without the book, but with the book you can work through all the songs and exercises, and in the process develop your melodic playing ability while also mastering the skill of reading music written in tablature. Alright, let's get to jamming in this lesson. Hi there, welcome back. So glad to have you joining me. So in this lesson we're working on more of these challenge pieces at the back of the Tablature Book. We're going to be on pages 134 through 145, doing numbers 182 through 191. As mentioned in previous videos, it's not expected that you would necessarily watch the whole video and play through on all of these with me, one right after another, but you might choose one or two to work on at a time, master them, get them down, and then rejoin the video. Use the video to hear what they sound like, use the video to play along. It's also important that you're playing them on your own and you can hear where maybe you're consistently making mistakes, if you are. But playing along with me, you might not notice where you do that because you just kind of, listen to me and then join back in or something. But the goal being to be able to play them at various speeds. And with these, the faster you get them, the better. But it's also really important to learn them accurately at a slower tempo and then gradually move that tempo up just to sort of lock in the technique of playing the guitar and the coordination between the right and left hand. So these are some really fun pieces. We'll go ahead and get started with number 182. So let's do that. Okay, so number 182 on page 134, got that indicated there on the board. Bourrée in A minor by Johann Sebastian Bach. So this is a great old Bach melody that we'll probably recognize. Bach didn't write for the guitar, but there's a lot of Bach compositions or melodies that we end up playing on guitar, and this is one. So with this one, it starts out, we're going to play a lot of it in first position, but it starts out with this open 5 on that top string. I'm grabbing that with my pinky because then all I have to do is shift down one fret when I get to the second full measure. Everywhere that open 5 thing happens, I grab it that way. So we're going to see that a few times throughout. Now the rest of the first line we can play in first position, and then most of the second line we can just play in first position. But as we get to the end of it, so the last measure, and then in the second to last measure we've got that last beat where it's like 4 and... So we got that little trick. And I stick my index finger at the 5th fret, middle at the 6th, ring at the 7th. Creates this little minor triad actually. But I go 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, and then open. So that's all from 5th position. Just like that. And then I shift down while that open string's ringing to go 3 and open. So coming into that, you don't have an open string, so you got this whole 2, 2, 0, 2, and then I just have to go there. So it's a real fast shift, as we might say. So you just practice that a couple times over and over. You're going to want to practice the next part too. So those last two measures of that second line, you would have... Probably going to want to practice that a couple times, or as many as it takes for it to be smooth, so that when you get to it, you'll have no problem nailing it in the song. Then we can play the next couple of measures in first position. But you get this part 5, 4, 5, 5, 5, 4, 2, 4, 3, 3, and then 2. So that's on the third line, the third, fourth, and fifth measures. And this one's a little different because I'm actually going to personally play two different fingers in the same fret. So with my middle finger I hit that first 5, index hits the 4, 5, and then my ring finger reaches up to grab the 5 on the top string, back to my middle. Then I slide down, ring, index, ring, middle, index, and then I slide down, middle, index. So 5, 4, 5. This is how I prefer to finger this. So you're going to want to practice that and get it comfortable. I like to use the two different fingers. We're used to this if we've been playing chords like D7 chord or something. So to have those two fingers in the same fret but on different strings, it's really not a big deal. So, but we're just plucking notes at one at a time. The hardest part might be the 4, 2, 4, and then grab with the middle, index, and then grab the second fret with the middle. So that index to middle. That's how I recommend shifting through that. So for this next thing, I use my pinky. So the fourth line, 3, 3, 2, 3. I grab with my pinky the third fret because that facilitates not having to like go so far, but you could also roll. Lifting your finger is going to be time consuming, so I could roll, but I like to grab it with my pinky because I chip it less. It's easier to nail to me. And since we've done a lot of practice with our pinky, that might be easier for you too. And then it can be played in first position until we go back to that 5, 0, 5, 0. There's a couple places with slurs in this one. We've talked about slurs before. We're using hammer-on and pull-off slurs with this. So as a pull-off slur being index, pull-off. In that second fret where we're going higher note to lower, we do a pull-off. In the last measure of that line, we've got 2. We've got a pull off between 3 and 1 on the second string, and then a hammer on there. It's just supposed to sound more lyrical, kind of vocal. So we've got those there, and then on the last line we've got that 1 open 3. Again, that pull off. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and we can play it at a nice, slow learning tempo here. It comes in on beat 4 in the pickup measure, so I'll give us a 3-beat count in and then we'll catch beat 4. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Now, at the slower tempo, sometimes the slurs are actually harder to do than they are to do fast. It's okay to just pluck those notes and remove the slurs if you want to. So it would be like... It's always okay to pluck and remove a slur if you'd like to, but it's a nice effect when you can get it in there. Okay, so I'll take it a little bit faster here. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay, and I'll take it more up tempo. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so number 183 there on page 135, which I've got written up on the board. This is an Andantino. This one's by Ferdinando Carulli. This is one from our classical repertoire. This one's in 6/8 time. It sort of has that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sort of triplet fill. We're going to see lots of quarter note followed by the 8th note. We've also got some dotted quarter notes, which are really where our beat is. We're going to have 3/8 notes back to back, so we're going to get that triplet feel there. And we have some spots with a dotted 8th note followed by the 16th note, like in the second complete measure. So... and so on. That's sort of the feel of it. We're mostly in first position, but there are a couple places where we have to shift just briefly. The first one is there in the second line. It's right in the middle of it, starting with the last note of the 3rd measure. We're going to grab with our ring finger that 5th fret, then our pinky grabs the 6th on the 2nd string, so our index can grab the 3rd and open, and then we're back down to first position to catch that 2nd fret. So you might want to practice that move a few times. And 1 and 2 and It's kind of nice that we're coming off or coming into it off an open string. So if we look at that 3rd measure, 1 and 2 and that open string allows us to get up there and get our ring finger on the A or the 5th fret of that top string, so we can have our pinky in then there. So I would practice that a few times. 1 and 2 and until it's completely natural. So you're going to have that show up a couple times. So another place that we have a shift is there on the beginning of the 4th line. We've got this 5 3 0 3 1 3 1. So I want to grab the 5 with my ring finger, 3 with my index, hit the open, and while I'm playing the opens, shift down so I can hit 3rd fret with the ring index with the 1st 3 1. So you're going to want to practice that a few times until it's comfortable. We hit a fermata there. Remember that a fermata tells us to hold it out extra long. And coming out of this fermata in sort of a natural way, I'm going to sort of accelerate as we play those open top strings back into our tempo. So I'm not going to just be right back there, but that's sort of how that'll go. So you want to practice that shift until it's comfortable. Now coming into this shift, we don't get to do it with an open string. So if we look at the last measure of the 3rd line, even just that last beat, so the 2 and or 4 5 6, depending on how you're counting it, we have this little 3 1 3. So we hit that 3 1 3 and then grab with our ring finger. Practice that a few times until it feels really comfortable so that when you play the song, it's not so bad. So there's one other spot in this song where we have to shift, and that is in the last 3 measures of the song. So it's just like what we did on the 2nd line of the song though. So we're going to have that open string right there in the middle of that 4th bar on that last line. We hit that, and then we hit with the ring finger that A, pinky, or the A, which is 5th fret, then the pinky at the 6th fret, index at the 3rd, shift down during the open, and then 2 1 2. So we've done this before. The last 3 measures would be like 1 and a 2 and a. And you want to practice that a couple times. Since it's just like the one we practiced earlier, you might already feel pretty comfortable there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this at a nice learning tempo. 6/8 time, we have a pickup though, a pickup note in the pickup measures. So we come in on the 6th 8 note. So I'll give us 1 2 3 4 5, and we'll be in. Here we go. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, take it a little bit faster. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, and I'll take it more up tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I'll do it an even more up-tempo one. 1 and a 2 and... Let's go on to the next one. Okay, so number 184 on page 136, I've got that indicated there on the board. This is Carcassi's Prelude in G major. This is one of these sort of chord arpeggio things. So we're going to want to hold down chord shapes in our left hand as long as we can. At least 4 notes at a time, we ought to be able to hold down whatever the shape is that will cover those 4 notes. Sometimes we can do it for a whole measure, so for 8 measures, or for 8 notes. Not 8 measures, but 8 notes within one measure. Sometimes we can hold part of the notes through the whole measure, but there will be a slight change in that halfway point or somewhere in there. So this one can be done in a finger plucking style. If you just stick index on the second string and your middle on the top, and then thumb will pluck the first one, it's going to go thumb, index, middle, index. And you could do the whole song that way. Now I'm going to do it with a pick. I've mentioned sort of with these types of things before. This is really great technique development to be able to do this with a pick. It will really tighten up the right and left hands. And so I'm going to do it with a pick because this entire book is intended to be done with a pick if you'd like to, and then of course you could use fingers or thumb if you want to as well. We have a finger style book in the works for all finger style sorts of things, so just plucking with the fingers. But this one is intended that it could be done entirely with a pick if desired through this whole book, and I'm going to do it that way. It's really great to sort of get those 2 hands working together. It's entirely in first position. We'll just go ahead here and do it. We're in 2/4 time, but everything's at the 16th note level, so it'll feel the same as if we're in 4/4 with everything at the 8th note level. So I'm going to kind of count it off with that in mind, with a 1 E and 2 E and so I'm going to count it off at that 16th note level. As if we were in 4/4 time, I would count it off in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and give us that subdivision that helps us know where we are. Okay, here we go. 1 E and 2 E and and 1 E and 2 E and kind of pushes how long that note will actually hold for. Okay, I'll take it a little bit faster here. 1 E and 2 E and E and 2 E and okay, I'll take it a little bit faster. 1 E and 2 E and let's go on to the next one. Okay, so number 185 on pages 136 and 137, as I have indicated there on the board. This is Scott Joplin's Maple Leaf Rag, which takes us back to ragtime. And ragtime was a piano style, and so bringing this onto the guitar is a little bit challenging, but it's also really fun. One thing that will help is to see chord shapes. So as we start off, F shape and then C, then back to F, then C. For this next thing, I like to do sort of a mimic of what we heard on the piano by just going back and forth with the pick. But you can just hold that note out, and that's even easier. But I like to go, which is reminiscent of what the pianists would do when they go back and forth like that. And then you have the whole, which comes out of an F minor thing, but and it's similar to that as we continue there to the end. So that first part's not too bad. The picking in the right hand can get a little involved, and you could finger pluck it if you wanted to, but seeing the chord shapes with that part. Now, over there on page 137, when we start down on the third line, this part involves a little shifting and it's a little bit tricky. So we're first going to play on that third string at the 5th fret, and we're going to be in 5th position here. So 5th position, and then we play the open string, grab the 8th fret with our pinky, grab the open string, grab the 8th fret on the 2nd string with our pinky, grab the 7th fret there. So you're going to want to practice that over and over because we're involving open strings with higher on the neck. That gets a little bit tricky. The next thing that happens is we got to shift down, and we're going to hit the open string, and then we want to grab 6 with our pinky, open 3, 5, so open, so once we get there, then you got the open string, so open, just want to do it that way. You're going to want to play that over and over until it's kind of automatic. And then it has this shift down where we play 1, 3, 1. So right after playing 5, you're going to have to shift down. So just like that. You're going to want to practice that several times until it feels natural. Then we've got the F chord. Oops. Just what you want to hear. Most of those notes come out of the F. It's actually an F6 chord, but we go back and forth between steps 5 and 6, so we can't just leave the F down. There's going to be a moment where you've got to catch that D pitch, which is the 3rd fret of the 2nd string. You can just catch it with your pinky if you wanted to, and leave the F down, or you can finger each one. Either way. Then we got the part over the C7. It's all in first position, but you're going to want to collapse or use 2 fingers, 3 and then pinky, there in that first measure there on the 4th line of that page 137. So I just collapse my ring finger. Then you're back to the F chord just like we saw earlier, and then we're back to that move. And we're back to here. We finish off with this D7 thing. So, all doable in first position. That one high thing is the only thing that we're not in first position on. Okay, I'll go ahead and do this kind of slow. Just point out that this has a DS all fine. So we're going to play all the way through there at the bottom of page 136. We're going to play through both of those lines, and then up to the top of page 137. We'll play through the top 2 lines. We're going to hit that first ending on that second line there at the top of page 137. Pulls us back to the beginning, well, the first full measure, and then we come back and we take the second ending and continue on. We've got a first and second ending with the next 4 lines, so the bottom 4 lines there on page 137. So we're going to play through, do the first ending, repeat back to the start of that 3rd line, and then we're going to play through. When we get to the second ending, at the end of it, we see DS all fine, meaning go back to the sign, and the sign is written there right at the start of the first complete measure on page 136 at the beginning of the song. And we're going to play all the way through until we hit the fine. So that takes us all the way through the first ending over there on the second line of page 137. We come back and do it again, and then on the second ending we get that fine, which means, you guessed it, we are done. So that's where we'll finish the song. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we'll just go for it. This one's in 4/4 time, comes in on the and of 3 in the pickup measure. So I'll give us 1 and 2 and 3, and then we'll have and 4 and. Also, this one being in that ragtime, early swing and jazz eras, which this one gets played in some of that early jazz as well. We are going to go ahead and swing the 8th notes, so it'll just sound ragtimey and jazzy. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 4, and 1, 2, 4, 1, 4. Okay, we'll take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, and 1. Okay, and we'll do it even faster. 1, 2, 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, Okay, let's go on to the next. Okay, so number 186 there on page 138, as I have indicated on the board, Siciliano by Carcassi. This one we're going to play a lot of it in 7th position. So we start off, you can see that the lowest fret used in those first few bars is the 7th fret. And we're going to be right there in 7th position. So index at the 7th, middle at the 8th, ring at the 9th, pinky at the 10th. Occasionally we'll need to shift down to the 6th position because we've got a note that happens at the 6th fret. But that's sort of what we'll do there for the first half of the song. So the first 2.5 lines. Then we're going to shift up and be in 10th position. And so our index at the 10th, middle at the 11th, ring at the 12th, and pinky at the 13th. And we'll play the rest of it from 10th position. We're in 3/4 time. We come in and beat 3 in the pickup measure. So I'll give us 3, 1, 2, and we'll be in. Just like that. Here we go. 3, 1, 2. Okay, I'll do it a little bit faster. 3, 1, 2. Okay, and I'll do it even a little bit faster. 3, 1, 2. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so number 187 there on page 139, got that indicated on the board. Bourrée in E minor by Bach. So, this is kind of a fun melody, you might recognize it. This one, as we get started, we can play in first position, so no big deal. So forth. But when we get to the third line, sort of towards the middle, we have to do this shifting up thing and then this shifting down thing. So it's the third bar, it's on 4 and in the third bar. We're going to shift up to second position, or this is the way I make my way through it, and you can use the way I make my way through it, which I think is the easiest and best way. Or you could find another way that shifts through this. But from here, for the next few measures, well, the end of that line all the way through the second to last line, and then beginning that first line we'll be doing some shifting up and then shifting down, and then we'll stay in 4th position. But starting right there on that 3rd fret of that 3rd line, we want to shift to 2nd position and play, so play those 3 notes from 2nd position. Then we want to shift up to 3rd position for the next figure. So for that next figure, we want to play that from 3rd position. Then we're going to shift up to 5th position, and then 6th position. So I'll walk us through that much again. So starting from that on 4 and in bar 3 on the 3rd line, you're in 2nd position for that part, then 3rd position for this, then 5th position, then 6th position. So I'll walk you through that one more time, and you're going to want to practice it until it feels comfortable. So 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 6th. Then from here we want to go up to 7th for that much. So then we want to shift down to 6th, and then down to 5th, then down to 4th. So from that high spot, so on the 4th line, 2nd measure and 4 and, we're in the 7th position, then we're shift down to 6th position, down to 5th position, down to 4th position. So I'll walk us through that one more time, and you're going to want to work on it until it's comfortable. But starting from that 2nd measure on the 4th line, so beats 4 and, we'd have, then we shift down to 5th, 4th, and then the rest of the song is played in 4th position. Like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play it. You may need to work those sections out until they feel comfortable, but I'm going to go ahead and play it here at a nice slow tempo. We're in 4/4 time. We come in on 4 and in the pickup measure, so I'll give us 1 and 2 and 3 and we'll be in. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and shift. Three and take it a little bit faster here. 1 and 2 and 3 and... Okay, I'll take it even a little bit more up tempo. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we'll try it even more up tempo. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so here we are with number 188 on page 140. Got that written there on the board. The Wild Horseman by Robert Schumann. So, another classical repertoire one by a pianist that we're bringing onto the guitar. For this one, we're going to play a lot of it in 7th position, but we've got this open string against what's happening partially in 7th position. So you got this. That's how that starts out, and then the rest is right there in 7th position without any open strings. So sometimes it takes a little bit of getting used to trying to go between those open strings and then being higher on the neck than 1st position with open strings in the mix. But that's what we'll do there. And then it continues on. And then it just does it again. Until you get here, and we're going to shift down to the open position. Then we've got this in 1st position. And that goes through that 3rd line and part of the 4th line. When we finish on that 3rd fret, 5th string, then we're going to jump back up and do the rest of it in 7th position. Okay, I'm going to start out by playing it kind of slow. We're in 6/8 time. In the pickup measure, it comes in on that 6th, 8th note, so 1 and 2 and or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll count us off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll catch that note on the 6th, 8th note there, or the of beat 2. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I'll take it a little bit faster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, take it a little more up tempo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and for a super fast challenge one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and on to the next. Okay, so number 189, Dark Eyes, we're on page 141. Got that written there on the board. Now with this one, we're going to be playing this in quite a few different positions. So we're doing a bit of shifting around, and that's what makes it hard. It can help to write in the positions that you're going to do each part in. And when we're shifting, sometimes we're going to be grabbing things in the new position on fingers other than our index. And that can be a little disorienting, a little tricky. It's really good for us. So we start out in the 12th fret, and we'll play the entire first line, 12th fret. We start out with our index at the 12th fret, so we're in 12th position. Index at the 12th, middle at the 13th, ring at the 14th, pinky at the 15th. And the entire first line can be played in 12th position. And then the first measure of the second line, though for the last couple notes, we're going to shift down to the 11th position. So that part there would go as... So that's pretty easy. Then we're going to hit the open strings, but we're going to go to 4th position. So another thing about this one is it sometimes intermixes the open strings with being up in other positions on the neck, and that can be a little disorienting too. We did that with number 188 a lot. But in this case, you just got this open string to that 4th position, and then we're out of that, the use of the open strings, and everything here is in 4th position. When we get to the second measure of the third line, we're going to have to slide up, and this is an easy shift because we're just taking our index finger up to the 7th fret and 7th position, and we'll just play in 7th position. But this next part here, so right there in the 4th measure of the third line, after we've played with our pinky at the 10th fret on the 2nd string, we've got to grab with our ring finger the 8th fret on the top string, and we're now in 6th position. So again, that's just... You're going to want to practice any of these that are tricky over and over. Then we collapse our hand, and our pinky's going to grab the 8th fret on the top string, and we're in 5th position. So that little move right there just walks down. Then we're in 4th position. So you may want to practice that part a few times until it feels comfortable. Now those last two measures of the 4th line, we get into this sort of arpeggio mode, and we're back in 5th position. But we're going to start using the open strings. It doesn't indicate to do it, but I let them ring over a little bit longer than a quarter note, so I don't cut them off. It just kind of fills out the sound. So that first one's in 5th position, the next one's in 4th, then we're in 7th, and we're grabbing it with the ring finger, so, and then we're back to 5th position for the rest of the song, and we'll have a couple open string hits throughout the rest of the song as well, about every other bar. So I'll demonstrate that one more time here. So we start at the 5th position, second to last bar on the 4th line, then to the 4th, then to the 7th, then to the 5th for the rest of the song. So we'll go ahead and do it. We're in 3/4 time. We come in on beat 2 in the pickup measure, so I'll give us 3 and 1, and we'll be in with that beat 2. Here we go. 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and... Okay, we'll take it a little bit faster here. 3 and 1 and. Okay, and we'll take it faster. 3 and 1 and. And for an uptempo challenge one, 3 and 1 and. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so number 190 on page 142, got that indicated there on the board. This is Giuliani's Allegro. So, this is another one of these arpeggio ones that could easily be done with fingers as a finger plucking thing. But it's also really great to do with the pick. I'm going to do it with the pick, but if you wanted to assign your index to the third string, your middle to the second string, and your ring to the top string, and then use your thumb for everything on the other strings, you could play all the way through this one in that fashion. And they are a bit easier on the finger plucking side, I think, but it's also really great to develop the ability to do these with a pick. Really great technique development. And as I've mentioned, we've got the fingerstyle book in the works, and so in this one I was just sticking to using the pick and saving all the fingerstyle stuff for that. But you can do it whichever way works best for you. So this one can entirely be done in first position. We're going to want to look for chord shapes as we're playing it. Let those notes ring over the top of each other as much as possible. Just let them ring. That sort of thing. Okay. Now, at the end of this one, in the last measure, there's two notes meant to be played at the same time. If you're using a pick, there's a couple ways you could do it. One is you just do a quick jump from one to the other. Another way is to grab the lowest note with your pick and grab another one with one of your fingers, so it becomes this little pinch kind of thing. That's another option. Okay, now if you're finger plucking, you'll just pinch both of them. Here we go. We're in 4/4 time, 8th note level. I'll count us off with the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And here we go. 1 and 2 and ready and go and... Okay, I'll take it a little bit faster. 1 and 2 and ready and go and... tempo now. 1 and 2 and ready and go and. Okay, on to the next. Okay, so number 191, that's a plenty. We're on pages 143 through 145. Got that indicated there on the board. So a 3-pager. So after we get done with page 143, we've got to turn the page to continue on with pages 144 and 145. There are half notes there, so the page turn isn't too bad. But you could do what I've done, especially if you want to perform it. And I photocopied page 143 for the video shoot, so I don't have to turn the page in the middle of it. So you could do that. This one's kind of an old jazzy melody. We hear it in a lot of old jazz, and so hopefully it's recognizable. It's really become quite popular, but I'm going to swing the 8th notes because of that. The entire thing can be played in first position. Really the only trick to it is that there are a lot of places where we've got repeats with first and second endings, so you just kind of have to keep track of where you're repeating back to. Okay, we'll go ahead and play it here, starting out at a nice gentle tempo. 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, I'll take it a little bit faster here. A 1, 2, ready, and... Okay, and for a more up-tempo challenge, I want to ready and... Okay, so that wraps us up for this lesson. I hope you're having a blast learning to play these pieces and just working on playing the guitar. Each one of these is challenging for its own reason, and so it's an accomplishment to learn just one. And so working on all of them, that's just great. Even for me at the faster tempos, I have to practice. I can't just sight read these ones. They're challenging to play, especially the faster and faster we go. they just get more and more challenging. So it's great that you're working on them, and I hope you're having fun with it. In the last video, we'll be doing the last 9 songs in the book. So we'll be doing numbers 192 through 200, just like we've been doing in this video and in the previous video. So it's going to be great. We'll see you then. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For help with other guitar playing skills, check out more of my method books and the numerous lessons available as part of my online academy here on YouTube. You can find more information about me and my products at kristenbromley.com. Take care.